Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Outdo the Lion. As ever, I am your host, Fletch, and to preview a very, very, very exciting full 16 game slate of week 4 NFL games, our two, we've not got three this week, at least for now, my two favourite co hosts, let's face it. We've got Ballers Meg. How are you, Ballers Meg?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I am very good, thank you, Ballers Meg. How are you, Sam? He's back after a week off. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Still annoyed about the weekend, but we'll that'll be by the by.
We we can touch on it a little bit, and I think the Rams will come up again later in conversation because you've got a tough game this week, so I'm sure we'll be able to look back a little bit. There's not too much news, but we'll get onto the news in a second because we have to wrap up week 3. The Monday night team, the review team, didn't quite get Monday night football, and I'm quite happy that they didn't because this gets left to us. The Detroit Lions uh, went to Baltimore and came away with a win. Lamar Jackson is now like still a billion wins against the NFC, but now I think it's 4 losses now that he's got. Before I know Sam, you were on holiday. I know Meg, you fell asleep. Did any of you watch this or at least catch up with any of the highlights after this game?
I watched the first half.
I haven't had a chance to watch any of it, unfortunately, but it is on my list of things to watch. Among my many things to watch.
Yeah. You've had the unfortunate thing of going on a lovely holiday with your family. So sorry you had to go through that, Sam. Um, but okay, so I think it's fine for me to just quickly get on my soapbox about it then on my own. Um, I obviously did watch this live and watch this the whole way through. I for the first half watched it from behind the chair that I sit on right now, but for the second half or at least the fourth quarter, I watched it like that in front of the TV. Very, very excited and very, very happy. It was a very, very, very good game. It was two. You get the feeling, and you got the feeling throughout the game. It was like a heavyweight title boxing match. Two heavyweights going at each other where for the first few rounds they both land a few punches, both land a few hits, both of them get a feel for the game, and then sometimes as you find in those boxing matches, the last few rounds, one of them is able to just kind of last a few rounds longer, still has that stamina, and they kind of run away with it a little bit, and that's what happened. The Lions, it was 14-14 going into the half. Lions walk away 38-30 winners, and that was only because the Ravens got a garbage time touchdown. The Where I think I'll just kind of sit on the winning and losing this game, both teams, you actually look at it, it was quite even in terms of statistics for the most part. Uh, the Lions did get over 100 more yards than the Ravens. That's very important in games like football to get more yards than the other team. Played a fair few more offensive plays. Average gain was 6.5 to 5.9. But where I think it was won and lost is realistically in the running game, and where the Lions dominated on the ground, where the Ravens couldn't. This was where it had to be won if you were going to be the Lions. Both David Montgomery had 12 rushes for 151 yards. Jameer Gibbs got 67 on the ground. Both of them walked away with two touchdowns on the ground. Jared Goff went 202 and a touchdown in the air. The only other place where you can kind of consider it to be won and lost from the defensive side of the ball is I think it well, let me just count them. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah, 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. That was 7 times Lamar Jackson's ass was put on the floor by our defensive line, and a forced fumble on Derrick Henry. You don't, you just don't get sacked 7 times and win a game. You just can't. It doesn't happen when you have dominated that much on the line. Ravens have a lot to work on in terms of that O line, particularly on the interior. If they want to, the 1 and 2 now, if they want to really do want to do what they should be doing in the NFL this year, they need to get a lot of that O line fixed. Otherwise, look, no matter how good Lamar Jackson is, if you're going to get sacked 7 times in a game, that takes its toll on you. Um,
Even mentally, that takes a toll.
yeah,
Like physically, of course, but mentally, knowing that you're just not protected and you're not the other team are just getting through time and time again to be able to sack you. Mentally, that has to be draining. Like over
yeah.
time, that has to, by the fourth quarter, be like, shit, I can't keep
That's
doing
Joe.
this.
That's Joe Burrow. He's used to it for the last 5 seasons.
Oh, say, but where has that got him right now? That's IR. And where did that
Again,
have him last year? IR. Where did that? It, I mean,
Joe Burrow's just having a nightmare.
and I like the comparison of Joe Burrow to Andrew Luck a little bit. Like you've got this insane talent that's just getting beat up all the time, and it's such a it's so disappointing to see. Um, but yeah, I do want to get on my soapbox. I've been waiting to get on to talk about this now for a few days. Very, very excited to do so. And but that's where I say for me, that's where the game's won and lost. That's where it's where the Lions were the better team, getting the game going on the ground. Derrick Henry again has another bad week on the ground. He goes 12 carries for 50 yards. What was it he got? I can't remember what he got last week against the Browns, but it wasn't good. Um, the week before against the Browns, it was about 50 yards again.
23 yards.
23 yards. Oh, he was even yeah, much less than that. Um, and he's got his fumble struggles, particularly in the fourth quarter at the moment, of which I know Meg, you're on another podcast and you were talking about how um, just be wary of Derrick Henry at the moment because he's got a case of the fumbles.
Yeah, I would. In fact, I was just talking to Sam about it before we hit record that one of the pieces of advice that I've been given for the last 2 weeks, whenever anybody asks me about fantasy football, is when they ask Derek Henry, I'm like, I've just got this. Even before, 2 weeks ago, I've just had this feeling, and I think I said to you as well, avoid right now. There's something about him that is not quite right, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but he's not getting the points, and there's just a concern there in general for how he's performing.
Yeah. Um, absolutely. The punch out, by the way, was fantastic. Just it's one of those where if you watch the Hard Knocks with the Detroit Lions a couple of years ago, you've heard the thing of Dan Campbell shouting, what are we about? Pursuit and tackle. You don't give up on a play. If whoever it is has gone past you, you keep going. You try and do what you have to keep up the pursuit and get the tackling right. Then everything else will come with it. That's what they did, and it was a brilliant pursuit play by Hutch. Henry had well passed Hutch by that point, but he sticks with the play. He comes in, he takes the ball out. Um, yeah, and the other thing is like just it's the defensive stands on the in the red zone. I need to get the stat up. I'm trying to find the stat for the red zone. Um,
You were four for five, and they were 2 for 4
yeah,
in the red zone.
um, and the other drive. This is where again I'll talk. Mentioned a few different things where games won and lost. The the point that made me say I think we can do this because, as everyone knows, I was not confident going into this game. I genuinely thought I was on the Monday night team. I joined in for 5 minutes to preview Monday Night Football, and I said on that I was just like, look, I'm not confident with the going up against the Ravens. We're 1-6 against them in history. The last time we went there, we got absolutely demolished. Speaking off camera of our good friend Andy Davis, he was at that game and he left in like the third quarter. He was like, "Yeah, this game's done. I can go do what else I need to do now." Um, is the one drive that started at the end of the first quarter and took us all the way to 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. 10 minutes off the clock. 98 yards. By the way, two of our touchdowns came on drives that started within our own 5 yard line. But a 10-minute drive, 96 yard, ones that just demoralize and just diminish everything that the defense is going to do, that Lamar Jackson has to just sit back and watch. Those are the things where you kind of go, you have something in this game. Um, but like I said, we're not here to talk about Monday night much more. I did
I was
want to
just going to
just
say the one thing that I find bizarre, and again, it's probably just something that happened in the nature of the game, but the Lions had 38 attempts at running the ball. That's the Ravens only had half of that, which for a team that has Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, that's not the numbers you expect to see from a team that essentially is a run first team. They're designed to run the ball. Um, and I just find it bizarre that you go into a game where I don't think Detroit have been necessarily amazing against the run, but they just seem to have gone against almost their whole like I don't know their whole like what's it called, like their makeup. They just
Yeah.
everything about them, their whole genetic just of how they play football, and they've just not used it. And I just find that bizarre. I mean, whether Henry's fumbling balls or not, he still makes up yards. He still gets touchdowns. Lamar Jackson's the exact same. He can still run the ball. What he's one of his best talents is with running the ball. I mean, when you look at his stats alone, he had 7 attempts for 35 yards. He was averaging 5 yards a run. Like, use it. Use those yards to actually make something. I just find it bizarre that even when you're in a game where it was essentially up until the fourth quarter was neck for neck, it was touchdown for touchdown, you were level most of the game.
yeah.
So why not just stick with what you know? It seems a bizarre option to go with.
Yeah, and I completely agree. But one thing I'll say, it, yeah. Um, like I say, we're not here to reflect on this week, on the last weekend. We've had our opportunity. Um, never in my life have I been happier to be wrong about a game. There are some times you can sit there and go, "Oh no, I was wrong. My team won." This is one of those times. But like I say, we're here for the primary reason to talk about the upcoming week of football, of which we have a very, 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 very exciting one. I can't say very enough for this. Couple of little bits of news that we've got are just some of the official confirmations that like the Nick Bosa has suffered a season-ending ACL tear. Najee Harris has suffered a
Injury.
ending ending injury with an Achilles tear.
That was
Um,
nasty as well, that injury. I watched that
Absolutely.
live. It was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
Um,
fair, the Connor one didn't look particularly great either, which
No.
I'm probably going to
no.
come on to.
And the CD Lamb one looked horrendous.
Mm.
It's not as bad as what it
How
looked, but it
how
just
how
wasn't
he
like
how he tried to continue on as well is just crazy.
wild.
Absolutely. Um, there is one other piece of news that I've got, and it's unfortunate. It's horrible news. This was also spoken about on the college football pod yesterday. Um, Former Cincinnati Bengals and Detroit Lions running back Rudy Johnson passed away on Monday. I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday, in his home at the age of 45 years old. Uh, we don't want to speculate. We don't want to put any news. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office has said that all indications are leading to suicide with no suspicion of foul play. It's not something we want to dwell on. It's not something, but all that really needs to be said is the thoughts of every single person here at the AW Network still are with his family, his friends, his former colleagues, and everyone who knew him.
And I
45 is no age to go,
His,
and
his family have also said that he was suffering what they believe to be CTE. Obviously,
yeah,
can't be confirmed until post-mortem, etc. But he has apparently been suffering effects that would suggest he had CTE for a while now, and that um, it kind of led to, unfortunately, this tragedy.
Yeah. Um, he was a Pro Bowler, and in college he was a second team All American, SEC Player of the Year, first team All SEC in 2000 in his year with Auburn. Yeah, just a very, very sad, very devastating loss. Spent one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, yeah, 7 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then ended his career for the final year with the Detroit Lions. Um, it's no way to go. And look, if we can take anything from from something like this, it's that your mental health really, really matters, and we can only hope that he's at least been offered the support and the help that he needs. And it's, if you are suffering with your mental health, and things are available to you, and we should be using them, and be reaching out. So yeah, rest in peace, Rudy Johnson. Um, but to kind of try and bring it back a little bit, is there any other news that I've missed out on this week?
You didn't mention James Conner. Obviously, he's got a
Yeah.
horrendous injury. He's out for God knows how long. I'm assuming he'll be out for the season. And also, it's something that we'll come on to. But the Bucks have re-signed. What's his name?
Oh, the guy who was too fat to play.
Yeah, they've re-signed him, and apparently he's going to be used alongside Vita Vea as a attempt to stop the tush push. That's what everyone's using it as. So, yeah, they brought in. I think he's now at 435 pounds or something like that now, and he's essentially being brought back for this one game, essentially. So
I mean, the
uh,
poor guy must have whiplash at this stage. Dropped
yeah,
and picked up so many times. Um,
Good luck to anyone. If we talk about dropping him, about I imagine he's been dropped, but I can't imagine how many times he's been picked up.
um, no, yeah, I think in terms of news, I know that Atlanta have sacked their whole team. All the coaches have gone.
Yes, the wide receivers coach has gone on it.
Wide receivers coach gone. Um, the if anybody wants to put a word out for Zach Robinson to also be gone, that would be great. But yeah, that was the news that I heard. Certainly on Sunday night, I just through the grapevine just heard that they're just starting fresh, new franchise.
That's probably a wise decision.
I think
Um,
so. I mean,
it,
keep Bijan, obviously. Um, get rid of the smiling jester that is our head coach. Get rid of all the coordinators and the players. Keep Casey Washington and actually let him play. Be great, you know. But yeah, other than that, no big news out of Atlanta.
I suppose the only other news is that obviously Jane Daniels is had limited practice today, which is good news. Demarcus Robinson has been activated off IR for the 49ers, and Justin Fields has been full participant, so he's nears clearing protocol. So he's likely to be back this week for the Jets.
yeah,
And then I suppose, we started with obviously Rudy Johnson, but former NFL MVP Sean Alexander revealed today that he and his wife are expecting their 14th child. So, yeah.
Jesus. Somebody buy them a TV or something. Like, get them a subscription to Netflix or, like, anything at this stage, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Them and Stefan Diggs, they might get like a package deal.
Family deal.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So get this back up. There we go. We've done intro. We've done Monday Night Football. Right. Okay. So I've got like a little exercise for us to start off. One that I think just gives us a little bit of fun. Just a little bit of fun.
I hate organised fun.
I mean, fun itself is
Fun
like
in general, stop it immediately.
there are there are six 3-0 teams in the National Football League at this moment in time, at the point of recording. Those are the Los Angeles Chargers, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. The San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC. Obviously, every year, one team will start off really well and then fade throughout the season. I need to get the stats for this, but like I've tried about 6 different ways to find the statistic for this, and everything it gives me is wrong. And I know it's wrong because I've done some research on it, so I don't know the actual numbers. But I'm pretty sure like there's a team that starts off really, really well like this and then does not make the playoffs. So my little question to you is, out of these 6 teams, the Chargers, the Colts, the Bills, the Niners, the Eagles, the Bucks, which of these teams is the least likely to make the playoffs? Who's going to have the fall off?
Colts.
Really?
Because we're going to be the start of their fall off.
I think either the Colts or the Niners. The Niners due to injury. But I think the Colts are definitely
every season though.
Yeah. True. They should be used to. They really just should be used to recruiting from the streets at this point. But like, I agree. I think the Colts have had a bit of. I mean, obviously, we love to see it. There's a lot of controversy around the Colts at the minute, with Carly Ursay getting a lot of criticism for being and I'm putting this in air quotes, micromanager. Where they were talking about, oh, some people have put it down to her being a woman, of course. Some people have put it down to her personality type, whatever it is. And there's a lot of kickback because obviously they're saying, well, she's come in, she's micromanaging, but it's working. On some level, at some stage, something that's happened there is going very well. Is it the curse of the Giants? Get rid of a player and suddenly they can play again?
I think that you look at who they've played. The Dolphins, crap. Utterly crap. The Titans, crap. The Broncos are probably the only one that you would have expected to win, and that went to 29-28. I don't think they've necessarily played tough games, in my opinion. I mean, the Broncos probably is the toughest game, but I would say they were probably expecting going into the season 2-1. That's with that start if they were being optimistic, and they're 3-0. But then you look at the games that they've got coming up. I mean, obviously the Rams speaks for itself. Raiders, Cardinals, probably 2 wins, and the Titans probably a win. But they've got the Chargers, the Steelers, the Falcons, and then it's the end of their season, I think, is where they're going to come unstuck, because you've got the Chiefs, the Texans, the Jags, the Seahawks, the Niners, the Jaguars, and the Texans. I think they're in one of the easiest divisions.
Yeah.
And I just think that they're benefiting from having a easier schedule.
But then with that lineup, does that mean they're more likely to make? Because I know obviously there are some probably obvious losses there, but with the lineup that they've got and the schedule that they've got, I mean, I know that schedule isn't everything, but you look at how the Texans are playing right now. You look at, they've got the Titans again. The Falcons don't exist, remember, I've told you guys already. So, like, realistically, they're not coming up against anyone who's unbeatable for them.
Yeah, I want to say, well, you have in 3 weeks in a row, you have the Falcons, a bye week, and then the Chiefs. That's 3 bye weeks, really. No, we're not going to bite at that one. Fair enough. Oh, okay, I'll take it. But that Falcons game is in Germany, by the way. Don't forget as well. So it's not really a bye week. You have to travel and be in Germany for a bit. But I mean, it's the benefit of, where did they come in the division last year? Did they come? No, they didn't, because the Titans came bottom of the division.
They came third.
Third in the division. You get that benefit of, and okay, if you look through it, Rams, obviously that's a test. At the Rams as well, that's difficult. The Raiders, Yeah, it would.
That's a 50-50, I
The
think, because they
50-50.
again,
Week one, I'd have said yes. Week three, I'm saying maybe not because the Raiders don't actually look that good. The Cardinals, that's a test. The Chargers, that's a test. The Titans, LMAO. The Pittsburgh Steelers I still think yet to be seen. The Falcons, like I said, it's a bye week, but in Germany. The bye week, the Chiefs, which again could end up being like the Chiefs do not look good at the moment. Like you could be the benefit, you could just benefit as the Colts of some of that's a third place schedule, which you are always looking is meant to be a bit easier anyway. But the Chiefs on a down, like the Chiefs just crap. Um, the Falcons obviously it may still be struggling if you are struggling at that point. You could just be the beneficiary of a bit of a lucky schedule.
I think you could probably say the same about the Niners as well.
Yeah,
And you look at their schedule, I mean, yes, okay, the Jags will be an interesting game, but then you've got the Rams, the Bucks, which are going to be two very difficult games. But after that, it's Falcons, Texans, Giants, then us again, and then Cardinals, Panthers, Browns. Well, that speaks for itself. A bye week, Titans, and then the Colts, and then the Bears, and then the Seahawks. So, I mean, they could end up with I don't know, a 12-5 record, 12, 11-6 record, just because of the teams that they're playing.
yeah. It, yeah.
It's just that they're these teams that just are going to somehow probably make their way into the playoffs, but not because they're necessarily that good. It's just the teams that they've played have been utter trash.
Yeah. And another thing I was gonna say, like, is I'll say this though, in try to what you were saying there a minute ago, Meg, about the owner. We heard this 4 years ago when Sheila took over. And when she hired Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and she wanted to be in the draft room when they were doing meetings. She wanted to be in all the meetings. She wanted to be in she wanted to be in some of the pre-game. And obviously at the time, and especially if you look through the first season under Dan Campbell, obviously just how bad we were. It was she's doing too much, she's micromanaging, she's doing all those kind of things. Look how it's turned out. Look how when you're able, I think for an owner to have an owner that wants to sit there and go, look, as long as she's not turning around and going, actually, I think, excuse me, why are you trying to run trips left wide? Like, okay, we need to be running that instead. If you're just listening in and making sure she knows what's going on, as an owner, I respect it
Yep.
so much to understand what's going on, to know what's going on, to be aware of what's going on. So you know who to hold accountable and who the correct person to hold. It's easy to sit back in an owner's box, see bad results, and then go, right, head coach, you're gone.
Yeah.
But if you know that actually everyone's doing the right thing, but just
It's going to take a while to work out or
this is what's
whatever.
what's actually not right. So I really really respect it, and
Same.
I'd say to anyone like they said the same thing about Sheila Ford Hamp at the Lions, and look where the Lions are. Having an owner, like some owners are good and know what they're doing anyway and whatever. Some owners need to be a bit more hands on, but if it's just being hands on and being there and knowing what's going on, I see no reason to think that she's actually calling plays or getting involved where she's still letting the football people do the football things, and that's exactly what she needs to be doing. Um, so
I mean,
I
she came out and said, didn't she, when someone was saying that they saw her on the sideline with a headset on, she was like, "How can I be an owner and fire someone when I don't know what's going on?"
yeah
So I like the fact that she's
Yeah.
she's making sure she understands what's actually going on and learning the game, because it's to me that means she's more like you compare her to Jerry Jones. Like, as I mean, I know Jerry Jones is the extreme side of this, but he doesn't. I don't think he knows what's going on half the time. He's watched football enough to understand football, but he doesn't understand football. And I think what she's trying to do is understand football at a much more molecular level and
Mhm.
understand why the plays they're making the plays the way they are. Why is it working? Why is it not working? And then also that gives her the opportunity to then stand back and, like you say, to make the decision of, well, actually, I think what's the reason why things aren't working? Is it just because you don't have the right players? Well, fine, we'll look at getting that changed. Is it because the players you're calling aren't working because they're easily readable? That you're only choosing 2 or 3 different routes or whatever. They're things that you can then turn around and go, well, you're not doing what we want to do as a franchise, and that's where you can then start making those decisions. So I like it. I think it's a really good. I think, to be honest, I think more owners should be doing that and understanding in a lot more detail.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
agreed.
Different owners work in different ways. I mean, do you imagine Jerry Jones standing on the sideline with headset on, just listening to plays?
No.
To be fair, he'd do the extreme, and he'd actually be out there saying, "No, you need
Oh,
to run
play
this
this. Yeah.
play."
I would say you imagine if Sean McVay can injure himself calling a timeout. Imagine what Jerry Jones would do if he tried to run to call a timeout.
Heart attack.
Yeah,
Ah,
but have you ever listened to one of Sean McVay's play calls? They did
yes,
it. If you ever get the chance to listen, there was one that was there was Matthew Stafford mic'd up, and he was
yeah,
making a play, and he basically said, he's still going. You can still hear him here. He's still
yeah.
going, and he was just reeling off this play, and, and they'd not even
Oh,
set or anything. He's
yeah,
like, just wait till he finishes. Like, you just think
I love
like,
that clip. Yeah,
but yeah, he's. I mean, again, Sean McVay's probably the extreme of it.
yeah.
But
Um. So okay, to get us back onto the back on track a little bit. We've got the Chargers and the Bills, who I think were quite comfortable with. Like, look, we had them as preseason going into the playoffs anyway. They've kind of looked at the Chargers may look a little bit better than we thought we did, but we've got the data on a sheet to say these are going to be good teams, and what they're doing is what's expected of them. The same with the Eagles, potential. I'd probably say with the Buccaneers, right? We know what they bring. So it's between the 49ers and their injuries, and at the end of the Colts because, well, like you said, Sam, like they've beaten teams that aren't really worth much. In terms of we do the college football pod. We have to do the whole quality wins and what counts as a quality win.
yeah,
Um, they've not got real other than the Broncos. They've not got a quality win under the belt. And so, are you happy to stick with the Colts though, just because of the data we've got in front of us, or
it's just I find it a difficult one because the Colts could get in purely because the rest of their division is crap. The
yeah,
Niners could get in because their schedule is really easy.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's I would back history. Recent history would make me back the Niners to get into the playoffs over the
yes,
Colts. That's the only reason. Because I mean, like I say, I don't think we've seen the Texans fully. The Jaguars seem to be all right, and I mean the Titans are Titans, aren't they? They're just awful. But again, they've got to play them towards the end of the year, so I think that could be, it could happen. And we're also talking about the fact they have Daniel Jones. We all know what Daniel Jones is capable of in what he's doing now, but you also know what Daniel Jones is also capable of, and
Yeah.
that's the other side to his game. So, we've yet to see that, and will that rear its ugly head? Well, we don't know, but yeah, I think it could
yeah,
be. If I was to pick anyone, I would say the Colts are less likely, but I think it's just one of those where it could quite easily be that they end up in the playoffs just because they have
yeah,
the easiest division.
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed.
And in the reverse of this, I want to look at the 0-3 teams. Now, in history, 6 teams have gone 0-3 and made the playoffs. Every single one of them has lost in the playoffs. None of them have made it to the Super Bowl or anything like that. So we're not talking about Super Bowl runs. The It hasn't happened in the 17 game era. Not once. But there's a first time for everything. And we, as like I say, history has told us that while it's difficult, it's not impossible to make the playoffs from an 0-3 start. So let's say this is the year it happens. We have six 0-3 teams. We have the Texans, the Jets, the Titans, and the Dolphins. We also have the Giants and the Saints. Out of these six teams, which one do you think has the best chance of turning their season around and slipping in there in the playoffs?
I think the Texans would have to be the best option out of the six that are there. I'm not particularly confident in CJ Stroud anymore. I think we've given him so many excuses for too long as to why he's not meeting expectations. But I think just the best of a bad bunch there would have to be the Texans. I can't see the Saints making it through. Um, the Dolphins, if they made a change at quarterback, maybe. But even at that, they're just like an absolute dumpster fire right now to watch. Uh, I think again the Texans have got that easier division than the others as well, where potentially you might get there. Uh, yeah, I can't. I mean, also though, can we just point out that the Giants, yes, they're 0-3, but some of their plays have been absolutely phenomenal with Malik Neighbours. Like, I know one player doesn't make a team, but equally they've been unlucky in some of their losses as well.
And I mean, they're in a position where they may be looking to move on from Russell Wilson. So does a
Will
change of
Jackson Dart
quarterback
starting,
then
yeah.
Oh,
turn?
they are
Yeah,
moving on from Russell
that's it.
Wilson.
Dart's started against the Chargers, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, and obviously Cam Scatterbo is now going to probably be the leading back for at least a week or two with Tracy out injured. He looked good in
Yeah, he
their
does look
game.
really good.
And they seem to have quite a good off the field connection, so maybe that'll translate
Yeah.
on the field. The Giants are an odd one because they've got a really good defense. They've got really good pieces on offense, but they don't have a quarterback, like a stable quarterback. And I think that's the problem that they have is that and to be honest, if I'm going to be truthful, I think their biggest problem is their head coach. And it has been for the last few years. And I think, the fact that we're seeing Daniel Jones perform for the Colts, the fact we've seen,
Exactly.
Dable basically be told, no, you're not calling plays anymore. As the head coach, you've given it to the offensive coordinator. Is
Yeah.
there something like that? That's not exactly something that, as a head coach, I mean, you look at all of the head coaches; they're the ones making the plays. Yes, okay, the OC will probably be making sure that all the players are in the right place, who's playing, etc. But it's down to the head coach. The fact that the head coach has basically gone, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give it to the OC to do. To me, I think there's something inherently wrong in the Giants franchise, and I think it comes from Brian Dable, unfortunately. And I think that's until they saw. I don't want to say until they sack him or fire him, they'll then turn it around. But I think that is going to be a big part of it because, they've got enough pieces in that defense, in that offense to do things. Yes, they've got a tough division, and two teams and a half ish that are decent teams. I just think that they've got enough to do it, but they need some more direction and someone to actually lead them in the right way.
Agreed.
And maybe if they'd have made that decision in the off season, we'd be talking about a 3-0 Giants rather than 0-3 Giants.
Yep. And that's where it does just seem like, there's those games that they've had so far, realistically, they've been in with a shout of winning.
Mm.
And
the Chiefs.
well, yeah. But like, I'm thinking back to the Cowboys game, for example.
Mm.
That realistically should have gone their way. and didn't. And that, like you said, they've got the weapons, they've got the defense, they've got a great defense that I think is massively underrated a lot of the time. But the play calls are very questionable at times, and that comes down to coaching. And it's unfortunate that, to sit here and say, oh, well, you need to sack someone and someone potentially lose their livelihood. But realistically, it's a dog eat dog world in that, position. And Dayball just isn't the one for them, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying for a while. I mean, obviously everyone goes on about neighbours. I think Wandale Robinson's been brilliant for them this year as well, and I've been
He's
saying
been
it for years.
injured, hasn't he?
This season he hasn't. He's played every game this season.
Has he?
Yeah,
Am I thinking last season maybe?
he's had first rookie season he was very questionable with injuries, and then second season he was in and out with injuries. But this year he's been fully fit and he's performed very well in every single game.
Yeah.
I really rate Wandale Robinson. I think was he a third round pick out of the draft? Was he maybe or fourth round pick, something like that?
He wasn't. He was later on, wasn't he? He wasn't. He was
Was he?
third or fourth. I mean, he wasn't first or second round.
Yeah, I'm don't know why I've got third round stuck in my head for some reason.
I struggle with saying his name. I always say Wandale Robinson.
So I'll apologise for my co-host here for spreading misinformation. You just can't find the to give appropriate information anymore. I have to deal with what I've got with co-hosts.
See, a seventh
He was
round.
second round pick
Second round, see?
in the
Even better
2022
than what I
draft.
thought he was.
So yeah,
But no, I just remember him coming out of he was on fantasy. He was one of my targeted players across loads of leagues. It might have been that I picked him up in the third round in rookie drafts a lot, but he was one that I targeted a lot, and he's starting to turn it around. Obviously with Malik as the number one there, but yeah, I just the Giants look like they could be something good. It's just they don't have the right head coach and coaching staff there at the moment.
I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to agree with Meg here, though, that in terms of teams that can make the playoffs, if anyone was going to do it, it'll be the Texans, and that is purely based on, as we've historically said, this is very clearly very AFC South heavy for these teams aren't what we think they are. The Texans are just in the weakest division. With the Colts, even if the Colts continue to be great and all that sort of stuff, we all still think like the Jags are
the Jags,
and they are flattering to deceive or whatever the phrase is. I know they've just beat the Texans. They're 2-1. They look really good against the Panthers. Then they just looked okay against the Bengals, and then they looked okay against the Texans. I want Liam Cohen to do well, but history is not on the side of him. It's the Jags being the Jags.
But also there's a real disconnect between Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, I think, that's becoming more and more apparent as the weeks go on. Yes, they're getting wins, but there's something that's just not quite clicked yet. And it might be it might be that it's just going to take a bit of time. I'm not saying that it's, a personal thing or anything like that, but there just seems to be something not quite clicked there yet. And, that's an interesting dynamic because we know the Jags be jagging, but like it's hard to call the Jags right now because, I don't think any of us would have predicted them to be sitting at 2-1 at this second in time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brand new head coach, first time head coach, you'll just sometimes we have to wait and see that. There'll always be a bit of friction. I know we've seen friction between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson at some at points as well. It happens. It's a brand new system, brand new type of offense, brand new way things are running. Hopefully it fixes. Because at the end of the day, I don't personally don't have a problem with the Jags. If anything, again, I'm so grateful to the Jags for the commitment to the game in the UK that I'm just grateful for them. But we all want good football. We want good teams, good football to watch. So when teams are good, they're good, and that's always a good thing. But it's just they're in the weakest division, the Houston's, and we could see a Colts collapse. That's not out the realms of possibility. We could see the Jags just being the Jags and jagging everything everywhere. And the Titans are going to be the Titans for a while, at least for 1 year until Cam Ward gets it going properly and gets some talent around him.
He's
That's
just
just a
been
division that's
announced
there
as
to
being
take.
healthy.
It's yeah. It's a division that's there to take, potentially. And
I think the Texans, in terms of player for player, have probably potentially have the best team
yeah.
all round. So that's
Mhm.
why. I mean, I agree. I would go on with the Texans out of all of them. Again, the same reasons. Division's poor, and I think that their team's probably slightly better than the rest, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3-0 team most likely to not make the playoffs by general consensus here will be the Colts. And then the team that's 0-3 that's most likely, and again, there's always someone who's like, yeah, you say they're going to be the most likely to make the playoffs does not mean they will make the playoffs. 5% chance against a 3% chance, he's still the most likely chance. It'd be the Texans. So again, the AFC South is terrible and
Mm.
provides chaos, and that's why we like it. And I don't know what I'd do on wildcard weekend if the Texans aren't the first game on the Saturday. It feels wrong without them. It just feels wrong without them. Moving on, this weekend is an exciting weekend because it is the start of the international series. Well, it's not the start of the international series. We had the Brazil game already. It's the start. The NFL is making the journey across the Atlantic Ocean, arriving in Ireland this weekend. Let me just, I'm just gonna get I know it's got nothing to do with this, but get me my green foam finger out from my trip to Dublin this year. So arriving in Dublin, coming to the UK next week. It going to Germany. It's going to Spain. The NFL is in Europe and it is doing a tour. Very, very exciting time for all of us across the pond. Couple of things I think to start off with on this topic are one, I can't think of a city that deserves this more than Dublin right now. I really, really, really can't. Take away, the connection to the Steelers and how the Rooney family have really wanted Ireland specifically. What Ireland has done for American football and the way it has gone about and the connection it already has to nowhere deserves it more. The show that they have put on for college football, which um unfortunately, despite much, much, much begging this year, uh neither of my co-hosts could make. The show that Ireland puts on and Dublin puts on, and the entire country of Ireland, by the way, you've got in Dongle, in Cork, in all over the country of Ireland, the little cities, towns, and villages are putting things on for the game because they know people travel over and do tours of Ireland just to come and see the game. No country deserves it more. No city deserves it more than Dublin. They put it up for college football. They have been the home of college football across the pond for years. They deserve it. Shout out to Michael McQuaid and everyone at Pro Football Ireland because everything this would not have happened without them. Uh, okay, maybe that the Rooney family would have said we want to go to Ireland. Maybe the NFL would have come to Ireland. But the hype around it, the way it's gone, the way everything's done, Michael McQuaid, all the opportunities that he's getting, all the opportunities the guys at Pro Football Ireland are getting are so well warranted and deserved because of everything that they have done. They are incredible, incredible people. And I'm very, very proud to have at least got to know Michael and things like that through the college game. Off my soapbox now. Um, Sunday is a long day of football. If you are one of us, starts at 2:30 in the afternoon, goes on till 4 in the morning. The next few weeks, my heart gets so happy because there is just so much football to watch throughout the day. Steelers at Vikings at Steelers. Let's start with the game. some key talking point. The Vikings obviously coming in off a massive, massive win against the Bengals. Carson Wentz to get it done. They can't drop Carson Wentz for this game, can they? Can JJ McCarthy even play this weekend?
No,
No, he's out.
he's out.
So it's going to be Wentz season again.
You can't be more confident with Wentz season right now, though, after last weekend.
Mm. That was a domination, an absolute domination. So, yeah, I think obviously I do think that this is going to be a harder game for them.
Yeah.
The Steelers' defense is much better. Let's be honest, it's a lot better. But again, Jordan Addison's back this week, which is a massive plus for the Vikings.
Mhm.
That Vikings defense is unbelievable as well, which we, put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, was it week 2? We got to see him do a little bit of running, and it was funny.
It was.
And we'll probably end up seeing a lot of running. Well, probably have to do some running this week. So, yeah, I just think it's, as much as the Steelers will want it to, with their first game in Ireland and want to win this, I just cannot see them winning this game at all. I just think that they are usually the team that is at least dominates on the defensive side. I think they're not going to dominate on the defensive side, which is the worry for the Steelers. Offensively, we've seen what they're like. They can be good, they can be awful. I just think against a good defense, they're just not going to turn up as well. Do we know which team has turned up first out of the two teams? Because we all know the team that arrives second, or the team that arrives first is the team that usually wins. So this may change my complete perspective and say the Steelers are going to win.
I can't see the Steelers.
I can't see them winning, but
Aaron Rodgers. So that's literally all we need to say.
Be interesting to know which team did turn up first, because I think every time the team that's turned up first has gone on to win the game in Ireland, haven't they?
Actually, let's have a look. Google won't tell me, but I'm pretty sure. Obviously, the teams will post on social media when they arrive. So the Vikings, have they posted it? Well, they'll be here, but
But yeah, so
you're allowed to talk, by the way.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Problem is, it's not really much. This is probably one of the easier games I would say to call in terms of a team that is more of an outright favourite than the other. I just think the only thing that I could maybe see is that it's, like I said, it's a bit like what we were saying with the Indianapolis Colts in terms of their opening game. That obviously their owner had passed away, and there was all of that sort of stuff. Would the same thing happen here? It's the Steelers' first game in Ireland. They're really going to want to win. They're going to want to put on a show. Could that potentially be the driving force to why they would win? I don't know. I don't think it's likely. But
I don't think it's enough for them to win.
Yeah. Like, I think the thing with the Colts was they were coupled with the fact that the Dolphins were utterly terrible. Whereas I don't see the Vikings being terrible in this game.
No.
And they've just come off a massive win.
Carson Wentz has kind of proved himself again to be able to lead the team. You've got, like you said, Jordan Addison's back, shoring up that team anyway, and I just think they're stronger. Personally.
Yeah, Mason's running the ball well, which again is a big plus for a team that's just lost their starting running back. I just think on all fronts they are just so much better than
Just
the Steelers.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, I can't be 100% sure, but the Steelers have arrived.
I should bloody hope so that they've
The
arrived.
Pittsburgh Steelers have arrived in Dublin, Ireland to face the Minnesota Vikings, so that's been confirmed. Right. Have the Vikings landed? I have no... It looks like, oh yeah, okay, it looks like the Vikings have, but there's been no like. Okay, no, they left today. They're leaving
So the
today.
Steelers are already there. So Steelers are winning then.
The Steelers are. But I'm gonna see if I know it doesn't like it when I show my phone screen to my camera, but Dublin Airport,
Yeah, no, we could
um,
describe it to us. Give us an audio description. Oh, there we go.
for our
Yeah.
video viewers, that's Dublin Airport, the between T1 and T2, well, with the balloons on the archway, which again, that's just what Dublin do because
Well, you saw it with even the pubs and stuff for the college game. They all had
that's the same archway,
yeah.
just in August this time round. By the way, shout out to the Kennesaw State sidelines crew for liking my tweet there. As I was showing it onto the camera, big up Kennesaw. No,
We love Kennesaw.
They do it every year. They do it for every game. They really, really. This is what I'm saying. They show up, they show out. Dublin really puts on a show for the sport. Um, Obviously that was my photo from the same place as the other photo was taken. The To celebrate this momentous occasion, I'll put it together. I know, and I'm sure Sam has nightmares thinking about the little quizzes I did last year. I'm not going to make us do a separate video for him, but I've got a couple of quiz questions just to get us going. Um, on, excuse me. All right, hang on, one more. Oh, bloody hell, right, I've lost the tab. Lovely. Okay, there we go. Got 5 questions on American football in Dublin. 5 questions on Pittsburgh. Don't give me that face, Sam. 5 questions on the Steelers and the Vikings as a matchup before we do. So, question number 1. Dublin hosts a college football game every year during week 0. But what name does this game go by?
The Aer Lingus Classic.
Well done, Sam. Well done.
It's the only one I'm going to know.
The
Yeah,
National
it's better
Football
than
League.
me.
The National Football League has been to Dublin before. It's not the first time. However, not for a regular season game. When did the NFL last play a game in Dublin?
Was it not an all-star? What are they called?
Was it this century? No.
Not since the turn of the millennia.
1998.
1969.
What's that? Oh, Sam, what was that year?
98.
Meg?
I said 69.
Meg, you were way off. Sam, you were very, very close. It was not July of 1997
Ah,
for a
1 year out.
preseason game. Which 2 teams played?
Vikings
Steelers.
versus the Steelers.
You've got the Steelers is correct. You've got the correct division, but not the correct
Packers.
team. Nope.
Lions.
Nope.
Bears.
There we go.
Got
We
there
win
eventually.
it.
Process of elimination.
American Football Ireland hosts a championship game every year, similar to the way BAFTA has the Brit Bowl. What is the name of the championship game? This is the what bowl?
Potato Bowl. That's just me
Very
being
Irish.
very
Very
stereotypical.
Irish.
The Clover
Guinness,
Bowl.
Guinness Bowl.
You're along the right lines with Clover.
Leprechaun Bowl.
No. I think a bit further out. You've gone a bit further away from it there.
The pot of gold bowl. Rainbow bowl.
Maybe one more, couple more
Lucky
guesses.
bowl.
Nope.
I'd have gone with it. The only one I could think of would
Oh,
be the Guinness Bowl.
Shamrock.
Shamrock Bowl.
The
Well
Shamrock
done.
Bowl.
Well done. The Shamrock Bowl. One of two questions. Right. Okay. So, as I said, the Aer Lingus Classic is played in Dublin every single year. The NFL game this year is being played at Croke Park, but in which stadium hosts college football Aer Lingus Classic?
Oh, that was also Croke Stadium.
No, it wasn't.
Aviva Stadium?
Aviva Stadium. Well done. Okay.
It was the
So,
only other one I could think of.
to wrap it up, I've got a couple of questions on the Steelers and the Vikings as a matchup. Head to head, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings have played 19 times in the regular season. Who? Oh, who wins the series? Who's currently winning in that series?
The Vikings are winning 10-9.
10-9. Well done.
I'd have said the Vikings just because they've generally been a better team throughout the years, but I didn't think it was that close.
They played one preseason game as well.
Yeah. Well, they played a preseason. Well, they played a preseason game that doesn't really count. They have played a game though that really, 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 really counts. Also known
Super
as the
Bowl.
Super Bowl. In which year, or can you tell me the number of the Super Bowl that they played in?
47.
No.
It was one of the really early ones. So I remember when we've looked at, is it Super Bowl one?
No. Because that was
That
Packers,
was Packers, yeah.
Raiders.
3. 12.
Warmer.
10.
Even warmer.
9.
There we go, number 9. Super Bowl number 9. Who won?
Steelers.
The Steelers. And you know that because the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. They have also met. Well, sorry. Have they? They have also met in an international series game in London. Who won that game?
The Vikings.
Vikings.
Vikings 34-27 with a running back rushing for 2 touchdowns. Who was it?
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. And then the last one is. Where's it gone? With preseason games being played in across the world before, how many times have the Vikings played in Ireland before?
Twice.
Never.
Never. Never played in Dublin before. This is the first time the Vikings will be playing in Ireland. Okay, so
See,
right.
I do know more than just the Rams and the Texas Longhorns. It's almost like I watch NFL and college football.
Yeah, don't act like I can't see you going like that on Chat GPT. No. Okay, so as we get into we'll just want to have a quick peek around the league and see what other games are on this week. There are some key really good matchups going. Before we do so, Meg, can you give us your game of the week, please?
I can. I've gone for the Eagles Buccaneers game as my game of the week this week, seeing as we weren't picking the international game. I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup because both teams are 3-0 right now, as far as I'm aware. I think so. Obviously, that means that somebody's breaking their winning streak. Historically, the Buccaneers lead that series, that matchup. I want to say 13 games to 11. I think they've played 24 times. Let me double check that information. I did check it before we came on. Yeah, 13 wins to the Buccaneers, 11 to the Eagles. However, Baker Mayfield is potentially out this weekend. It is questionable with injury right now. The Eagles, yes, they're 3-0, but they are not the Eagles team that we've been used to seeing last season. They are, still got some explosive plays. They've still got, that dynamic is still intact in some ways, but there is some parts, in my opinion, personally, you guys might disagree, but just from watching them and watching how they're playing is not the super confident, all out, I'm going to put money on them every week to say that they're going to win, because they're not as hot as what they have been previously, whether that's just start of the season warming up, whether it's and the new players coming in and that kind of thing, but they're missing key parts of their defense from last season's Super Bowl team.
They've not got Nolan Smith this week either. He's out injured.
They don't. Whether that's going to have as big an impact as potentially Baker being out, probably not, but still an impact nonetheless. I'm nervously saying that the Eagles are going to win this one, purely in terms of for selfish reasons for my division. But I do think it's going to be a very interesting kind of match up between the two teams. I think that looking at the Buccaneers, you've got the likes of Emeka Egbuka, you've got the likes of Bucky Irvin, you've got all of that going on across there in Tampa Bay that is explosive and that is fun to watch. And when you're looking at the team playing, there's never a dull moment. You're always like, right, what are they going to do now? I think a lot of the Buccaneers' skill or wins or whatever dynamic is that they're very unpredictable in what they're going to do next. They don't seem to be, last season we saw them where we kind of got used to some of those plays that they were making and we kind of could predict a little bit. I mean, the fact that the Falcons beat them twice last season, interesting. Obviously that's not a record we're keeping this season. But I'm not bitter about it at all. But this season they just seem unpredictable. Like every play is something different, or it's got a twist, or it's got an edge to it that we just haven't seen from them before. And I like it. I like, as in, not as a Falcons fan, but as a football fan, I like to see them playing. Whereas with the Eagles, I'm finding that last season I quite enjoyed watching them playing, and I think they deserved that Super Bowl and definitely deserved to get to that point. But this season, I'm watching the Eagles, and it's kind of like it's getting a little bit samey, a little bit predictable, a little bit flat for me in terms of just that level of excitement watching a game. I guess you guys talk about, the quality wins in college football and stuff, but for me, a lot of what I judge a good game of football on is, am I excited to watch this? Is this enjoyable? Is it fun? Is it something that I'm actually sitting here glued to the screen like it's a game of tennis going back and forward? Who's, those trench battles or those really explosive games where you're just seeing, touchdown after touchdown. I watched Tennessee playing at the weekend, and that was a game that you literally could not take your eyes off, because if you did, you were missing, 3 touchdowns and a field goal by the time you were, back from making a coffee. So yeah. I'm interested to see how this one goes.
Yeah, I think injuries could play an interesting part in this. Obviously, we mentioned Nolan Smith is out. Baker may miss this game. Mike Evans is definitely missing this game. Chris Godwin may be back, but it's unlikely. The big problem that I have is that if Baker doesn't play, who's their backup? Because they got rid of Kyle Trask, so he's no longer there.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Because you could be running an offense that is basically Bucky Irving and maybe trying to throw to Egbuka and Cade on.
Teddy Bridgewater. No, that's not even the right thing that I'm looking at. I'm like, when did he become a quarterback? Uh, yeah, so they got rid of Kyle Trask. So the
Yeah,
only other one that's
they waived him.
listed, no, to be fair, 5th of August, Connor Basilek, who's an undrafted rookie, and Bridgewater, it just says they've signed him.
So you'd be looking at Teddy B as the backup if Baker isn't available, or some rookie that I've never heard of.
I've never heard of that rookie before.
So realistically, if Baker doesn't play, they're screwed, really. Because
When
Teddy
did they
B,
sign? They actually signed Teddy Bridgewater on the 5th of August.
But
I've missed that.
didn't they sign him when he got suspended?
That was it because he was coaching at a high school team and
Yeah, he
he
got
got
suspended.
slated for benefits for the
improper
players
benefits.
when they
Yeah,
were
he
Um,
got
just looking
suspended
after
for
them.
it.
well,
Yeah.
he won the he won the Florida State Championship with the high school team, then came onto the Lions roster just in time for the playoffs. We cut him and then he signed. But yeah, put some respect on Teddy B's name, please.
I am. Absolutely love the guy's ethics as a coach.
Yeah,
I
of
can't
course.
say I know much about him as a quarterback. I didn't know that he
He's
signed as one at the Bucks.
the problem is that I don't see him stepping up against the
No,
Eagles. Is
no.
No.
it doesn't if Baker can't play, I think you pretty much are basically looking at handing it off to Bucky Irvin and hoping for the best, because I just don't see him performing as that other quarterback. With only having really Booker and Cade on to then hit the other, obviously there are other wide receivers there, but they're not substantial
But
to
then
win you the
equally,
game.
last season they were without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans for 2 games towards the middle at the end of the season, weren't they? When that week where they both got taken out.
But then they had Baker Mayfield there. If they don't
But they
have
had
Baker,
Baker.
if
Yeah.
there's no Baker, it's gonna be you may as well basically just shove all your money on Eagles because they're gonna win.
Yeah.
If Baker can make that game, then it makes it more of a game.
What do we know what's happened with Baker? Do we have
I don't know.
that information? I'll try and find it just now.
Well,
But
obviously, if he's fit to play, then I think it does make it a tighter game. It adds into that element of unpredictability about the Buccaneers. Um,
Right bicep injury.
so that's his throwing arm.
yes, which we
So that
don't love.
yeah, that's potentially ruling out. But it depends how has he practiced at all this week?
He was in
It's
limited
slightly different for
practice
quarterback.
yesterday.
Okay, so that's positive.
Yeah, so it says practiced on Thursday with a sleeve on his arm. Seemed to be throwing fine and should be good to go for the week 4 game on Sunday against the Eagles. Listed as limited on Wednesday, and same on Thursday, but he is expected to play. So
So he'll play, which makes it a little bit less, more unpredictable, but less favourable for
and
the
it's
Eagles.
also that report saying that Chris Godwin is likely to be back this weekend.
Yeah, I know they did say he was 50-50 when I last looked, but he's still coming off an injury, so there's no guarantee that he's going to be at full fitness. They're going to
No,
rely on. They've still got Sterling Shepard. Is he still there?
I don't
They
know.
might have to throw him in a few plays. But yeah,
And
I think it'll probably be a good game. I think the problem is that if the Eagles do manage to find their groove, as they did in the second half against us, then they could quite easily run away with that game. The one thing you haven't mentioned, Meg, which is something that we needed to mention, is the fact that the refs no longer wear red and gold; they wear green and silver. So
well,
we've got a change in support for the refs and the officials,
that
which
is true.
plays a big part in the
I hear they
game.
did
So,
a bulk order in their uniforms.
yeah,
Lady
some of
We've
freak.
that
also just
green and
on the
silver.
on the back of that. it looks like Jaden Daniels is also trending towards playing this week.
That's good.
Just as a
Listen, I don't know what either of us, any of us, have done in a past former life, but we've just been visited by one of the ghosts of our past former life. I don't know what we've done. I say, don't know what we've done wrong, but one of these has cursed us. Carl is here finally. How are you? How are you, Carl?
Oh,
what
good,
time do
sir.
you call this?
It's called double planning ahead, unfortunately. We always try to do our preview shows on a Friday, but unfortunately we've done it today because that's all they could do. So, we had to do it on Thursday.
So,
You know,
Pat's
it's
took,
called,
yeah.
The
it's
staff.
also called putting in the hours, Megs. It's also putting in the
Hey,
hours.
you
So,
don't need to talk to me about that. You do not need to
Um,
talk to me about that.
listen, let's not be coy about it. You've had good friend of the network, Keg, on your podcast. I
indeed.
messaged him the other day, and I was like, I do believe you're on the Pat's Touchback on Thursday night. To which we had a good laugh about it. I said, be nice to Carl. He's sensitive, our boy. I'm joking. So
It was my
beware of Carl.
co-host. It was my co-host that went a little bit vulgar, actually. But anyway.
And if Carl says it was vulgar, then it was vulgar. Um,
Tune into the Patriots Touchback podcast to see what happened there then, because I'm
yeah.
gonna.
Oh yeah, we need to.
I
Paul,
need to.
Paul Keg. I will offer him some. I'll offer him an arm
Moral
of
support.
support. Arm of support later on. Clearly. Um, No, Carl, we are just talking about the Eagles at the Eagles in the Bucks this weekend. That's where we're at.
hmm Um,
Um, if
what do you
you
I
want
want
was
to,
just mentioning the fact that the officials this year have done the green and silver as their choice of colour for the this year's seasons ahead. After that abysmal officiating in the Rams game.
Oh, what you're
yeah.
complaining about the Rams game, are you? Even though they blocked two field goals against you.
Hey up, Carl's here.
What happened before that though? The push off from AJ Brown's touchdown, the random taunting call against Puka, which made no sense whatsoever. The offside call on the false start on the tush push, which didn't get called yet again.
So I can't afford any more arguments on this.
Plenty of favourable calls for the Eagles. As you
Yeah,
said, the Eagles are
Fletch,
the new Chiefs. Eagles are the new Chiefs.
Fletch got into a heated debate with someone on TikTok the other day about this exact
Right,
topic.
stupid Eagles fan, a stupid Eagles fan. Um,
He's lovely usually.
yeah, well, clearly not that day. Someone's clearly took the sugar off her frosties. Um, but no, we've spent quite a bit of time on the Bucks and the Eagles. So I do want to throw out because there are a couple more games that I find a little bit interesting, even if they're for not great reasons. So we had a couple of games where things like the Texans and the Titans, two teams that are 0-3. These aren't the most exciting games. I think we can all probably agree that the Texans will win this one. But it poses that interesting if the Texans can finally get a push off with the AFC South still potentially being up for grabs, the potential that the Colts have to still, once teams start to get what's teams now got a bit of tape on Daniel Jones and what they're doing. Good luck stopping Jonathan Taylor right now, obviously.
Yes.
But the Texans need to get a push off. They really, really, really need to get that push off the ground because it's getting real bad real quick for them.
Yep. I said it earlier. I think that how long can we make excuses for CJ Stroud as well? And I know what we're saying about, we've said sophomore slump, we've said, fix the team, but he is also making some unforced errors that need to be addressed. And that's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, he's leading a team.
If
Yeah.
if the Texans were to lose this game, does this put D'Amico Ryans in an untenable position?
No, it puts the OC in an untenable position. D'Amico Ryan has always been about defense. He was a defensive coordinator under Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers. So he's more of a defensive minded coach. I think he lets the offensive the OC do the job, which I think is which is Haley, which is yeah, I think it was Haley. I think I told not told Haley. Hang on, let me just look this up. Oh, what was it? Nick Haley, that's it. Nick Haley, that was it.
Ooh.
And yeah, he's been under the microscope for the first three games, and he's been god awful, absolute god awful. So I don't think this is going to be on D'Amico Ryan. I think Nick Cady is the one that could get canned if nothing continues. But this game is when you got an under of 38 and a half on this game, you know it's going to be a stink fest. You know it's going to be low scoring. It could be something like 17-14 maybe.
I
14-10.
disagree. I think the Titans have been putting up more points than any of us could have expected them to. Although they're losing, they're still putting on points on the board.
They're making some interesting plays as well, which I think is,
Mhm.
yeah, you know, they've not been. I
They've
say
not
they
been
have been a bit
flat.
yeah, they've been again unpredictable. I think they've played well ish in games, but just haven't got enough to get it ever over the line. And I think that's why they're 0-3. I mean, the team's not great, but again, Titans have always had a very good defense. It's not an awful defense. It's able to make plays, but
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, you put up 12 points, 19 points, 20 points. None of that setting the world alight. And then your defense has given up 20 points, 33 points, and 41 points.
Yeah, but they've got points on the board, is my point. Because like
Yeah,
last season, they were struggling
and
at
one of
points.
those games was against the Rams as well.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I know the other game that gave up 41 to the Colts. And
Yeah,
obviously
there's no
they ran the
excuse in that.
Broncos close. But I was just like, it's not setting the world. I mean, what was it this weekend or was it the weekend before? Where was it against the Rams where Cam Ward made that ridiculous throw,
Yeah, I was against us to Iomina,
running out across his body, and
Iomana, what it's
like
called.
I'm not like when you've got a quarterback that can make college football plays in the NFL because that's a college football play
Yeah.
that only ever comes off in college football. When you can do that, great, but they still need so much more talent around Cam Ward to even come close to being any sort of competitive. And uh, I'll be one of those to turn around and say, if you give up 41 points against anyone, it's just not good enough.
Give up 30 points against anyone that's not good enough.
I well,
Especially
okay,
when you don't score any yourself.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, Michael shut his Penix in the car door one too many times last week.
The fact that Kirk Cousins may be starting next week is quite the.
Kirk Cousins is not starting next week.
Are you
Forget
sure?
that shit. Yeah. 100%. Watch me say that and then him fucking start. I'll be bringing that Kirk Cousins jersey out of my retirement closet fast. I'll be wearing my Kirko Chains t-shirts that I had bought in at the start of last season.
You like that? You like that?
You like that?
I tell you what, it'd make for great the quarterback show, another season of the quarterback show, him not starting and then getting playing and playing well.
Just like smoothly
Perfect
walking in, being
season.
like, "You like that?"
Again, I think a lot of it will come down to though, because I do think I say that about the Titans, but also the game will be close. I think this will be a close game no matter what.
Agreed.
How much pressure can you again? The Houston Texans O line is not good. It is a terrible, terrible O line. How much pressure can the Titans get that defense, get that offense under? How much can you get CJ Stroud out of his rhythm? If you let him into a rhythm, you're in trouble. But get him out of a rhythm. Don't let him establish himself in the game, and it'll be easier. It'd be easier than you probably think.
Mhm.
but they still got to do it.
Mm. Yeah, I think it could. And this is just one of those games where you could quite easily see it being a 17-14 game, but you could also quite easily see it being like a 31-30 game. Just
Yeah.
just something silly and stupid and wild.
Just going head for head, touchdown for touchdown or field goal for field goal, because I could see that happening as well. Lots of field goals.
It's got to be one of those games where you sat there at 6 o'clock on Sunday, kind of going, "I'm so glad this is a 6 o'clock game."
Not Thursday night
Because
football.
it's not a Thursday night game. It's not one of those where it's like a pity Sunday night football game. Because if it's a if it's a bad game, at least you miss out on it. If it's a really good game, great, it'll pop up quite a bit on Red Zone. You can see it there. This will, by the way, if you want my little good for all the wrong reasons, here's the good for all the wrong reasons. I before we get on to the last couple of games, and we're gonna start wrapping up. Obviously, I think this is a really good time to slip into our sponsors. Now, I don't know about you guys, but on a Sunday, it just makes my day a little bit better. I like to put a little flutter on some of the games. Don't know about any of you guys. Look, a couple of quid here and there. I also like to play a bit of fantasy football. Don't like playing against Meg anymore because what she did on Sunday was mean. No, on Monday night was mean, just beating me on the last play, basically the last play of the game. But I like to do these things. These make my Sundays better. These just enhance my game day experience. They give me a better understanding of what's going on around the league. And I always wondered, like, what if we could do a bit of both? DraftKings came in for a little bit, but then they left, and we have an even better option to do so now with Fantasy Game Day, the UK's first and only NFL daily fantasy app, made by UK fans for UK fans. And if you would like to join in, compete against some of us and other fellow UK fans of the NFL, win a couple of quid in the process just by playing a bit of fantasy football and putting a couple of quid down, then you can do so on Fantasy Game Day. Download the app, the link to which you can find in the description of this episode, whether you're on audio or video, it's in the description. And when you sign up, use code HRDLE. That is hurdle without the U.
So there's no hurdle the line without you.
Oh, magic. Just magic. Didn't practice that. Just off Sam's dome. He just felt the need to jump in with that one. It was beautiful.
So glad that Sam's back for that, just pointing that out, because last week wasn't great, Sam. I'm not going to lie.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. I tried to step into your shoes, but did not quite execute.
You butchered that the Packers butchered against the Browns last week.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate the support as always.
If you do so and you put in that code, then you will get £7.50 in free plays once you deposit and play. Meg and I have had a bit of success on it. Sam, have you actually had any success on it recently?
Not this year.
I feel
no.
like I've seen your name in the top, but it might be clearly another Sam.
Definitely wasn't me.
Definitely wasn't you. So,
yeah, we've done well the last couple of weeks on it. My bank account is looking nice.
You really could not have set me up any worse for what I'm about to do there with that comment. You could have lied and said, "Yeah, mate, I've made about."
The players that I picked have done well,
right.
just not the rest of the players.
Not made any money.
Yeah.
And as ever, I think what we're going to do right now is if you want to do that, then we would very much encourage you to do so. When you tell them we sent you by using that code, they give you some free stuff because they're just that nice. Because we're so nice, we're going to give you a little bit of a helping hand, and clearly successful Sam over here. Who are you taking this week in your fantasy game day? What are your tips?
So I've had a quick look. One of the ones that I'm looking at for this week, and it's funnily enough, we talked a lot about the AFC South. My pick, one of my, I suppose, deeper picks, and I do prefer to pick players that are the lower values, because when it comes to doing fantasy game day, you do need some of these lower value picks. I'm actually going with someone who we've mentioned already, is Ayamana, the wide receiver for the Titans. Someone may need to again double check this in terms of his value. I think he's only about 3,400 on the app. But again, he's a good option against a team that, although has a very good secondary, he could benefit with Ridley being tightly marked. And we've seen it in other games where he has seemed to have developed quite a good relationship with Cam Ward. So I would quite like to see him be picked. If someone can verify what his actual value is.
3,600, yeah.
3,600, yeah. So again, it's a good one to get if you're wanting to start putting, if you're wanting to have some of those more premium players in and you want someone in a flex position. He's someone to go for. Another position which I do like to talk about is tight ends. My pick for tight ends this week, again, is someone that both me and Meg have a fondness for, and that's Dalton Kincaid. I think this week could be a very good week for him. And again, I think his value is only 3,000 on the game. So again, it's a position where you could probably get some value and then allow you to sort of put a bit more meat on the bones with other players in terms of value. So those are my two picks for the week, is Ayamana and Kincaid.
Dalton Kincaid's 3,200 for anybody looking.
Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. Now, I've been racking my brain all week thinking of we need a jingle for this bit. We need like a double bumper, like a something. So if anyone else, it's double bumper, something. It needs to be for my favorite words in the whole wide world when put together. Double bomber. Brought to you by Carl because, well, no one else can double bomber like Carl can. What
No one bombing.
What have we got on the slip this week, Carl?
I'll take that as a compliment any day of the week. Okay, so I'm actually still in the process of doing this ninefold, so I will go through the sevenfold. Obviously, last week was not at all. I think one of the bets was like halfway through, which was better than it has been in recent weeks. But once again, it's so difficult to predict who's going to score these touchdowns or not. So what Bet365 have actually done very nicely, however, they've had a little something here. So under their names, they've got 3 little boxes of different numbers. Those numbers are how many touchdowns they scored in the last 3 games. And I'm trying to pick out who has been on a consistent run of form of scoring the touchdowns. So for your sevenfold, which is your smaller profit that you get, James Cook of Buffalo Bills, Emeka Egbuka from Tampa Bay, Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts, Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens, as long as he doesn't fumble it, Roma Dunze of the Chicago Bears, Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers, Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons. £5 on gives you back a very respectable 286. So obviously this is all gonna come down a little bit because now they're in a gradual of who's going to be scoring, who's not going to be scoring. As for the ninefold, I'm still in the process of doing it. So come back to me in about 5 minutes, Fletch, and I'll have the ninefold ready to go.
Lovely. Oh, we get a double bomber.
No, it's just a double bomber, but the double part of it is just not processed.
We're just
yet.
having a bomber at the
Right,
moment.
double bomber then.
Just a bomber.
It's a double bomber because we're gonna double bomber and then we're gonna double bomber again. So there's double bomber. You can, it's the same amount of double bomber. Can you just tell? I just want to keep saying this word. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll give Carl them 5 minutes. I want to go to what I think is one of maybe the other game of the week. But it's for different reasons. It should be on paper again one of the actual games of the week on any given occasion, but it has a little bit of extra juice to it. One team has to go 1-3 and have a really, really, really horrible incline to go for the rest of the season. The Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. One that we're used to seeing in the playoffs and one that we probably won't get to see in the playoffs this year. Again, knowing one team has to go 1-3 and have a really, really hard upwards battle. The Chiefs look a bit more warranting of a 1-2, a .333 record. The Ravens, obviously, although they got clocked by a superior team on Monday night, they aren't as warranting per se of being on. They lost week one, 40-41. Yes, they collapsed a little bit. Where do you go with this game? Like it has. Did the Ravens have it just on general performance in the first 3 weeks of the season?
Chiefs I don't know. Although the Chiefs haven't been good, they just they always manage to find a way, and it feels like one of those games where they shouldn't win it. They shouldn't win this game, but they probably will, and they'll somehow manage to do it. And Andy Reid will pull out a magic, as he always seems to do in these sorts of weird little games, and do something magical. You know, Patrick Mahomes is still a brilliant quarterback. He's going to have Xavier Worthy back this week by the looks of things. He's trending towards playing the game. You know, if Travis Kelce can stop arguing with everyone and everything is in his path, and start catching balls rather than dropping them, then, you know, things might start to click again. But I don't know. They just seem to they're just going to hang around, and I think this game's probably going to be very tight. I don't think much is going to be in it, and I just think that at some point the Chiefs will just click. It'll just work out, and they'll get a winning field goal, and that's how it'll end. And you know, or it will go the exact opposite way, and the Ravens will blow them out of the water. But yeah, I just think that, you know, at some point it's got to click for the Chiefs, and I think this is the potential where it could do, sort of a semi underdog sort of game.
Yeah.
I still think the Ravens will win.
Nobody has scored more points this season than the Baltimore Ravens. 111 points. They've scored 40, 41, and 30 points in the first 3 games, and somehow are 1-2. And make it make sense. I know how it makes sense, but I make it make sense at the same time. Ridiculous.
But this is the story of the Ravens, isn't it? They score big, but they concede a lot. That this defense is supposed to be. You look at some of the players on this defense, and you think this defense should be putting up huge points in terms of defensive points, and they just seem to be crap. Like you think of the likes of Kyle Hamilton, you've got Roquan Smith there, you've got the two cornerbacks that have Marlon Humphrey. He's still there, isn't he? And it just, I don't know what it is. It's they on paper they have one of the best defenses in the league, but when it comes to actually playing, they're just not that good. They just seem to give up points, and I don't know if that's a defensive call issue or if that's you know, they're just predictable in the way that they defend. I don't know what it is, but there's something not right with that defense, because they should be stopping teams more than they actually are, and they shouldn't be letting up as many points as they do. Like to give up, I mean, I know that the Lions are the Lions, but to give up 38 points against the Lions when you're wanting to be in that playoff picture, that's not good. And the fact that they've scored 40 points in another game and lost the game, which means they're putting up 40 points.
You've got to be questioning that defense for sure.
On the flip side of this game, the Kansas City Chiefs are putting up an average of 19.7 points a game. They've put up 59 points so far this season to the Ravens' 111. They've 50 less points.
How many have they given up, though?
Given up points. Right, there they are. 56.
So they've scored 59 and they've given up 56. And the Ravens have scored, was it 118 or whatever it was?
111.
111, and how many have they given up?
I'm gonna have to go back to this tab to find it because for whatever reason that page just lists no number for the Ravens. There they are. They've given up 41 plus 17, that's 58, plus 38 is
96.
96, yeah.
So they've given up 40 more points.
Yeah. So net points, Chiefs are +3, Ravens are +15.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be giving up that many points. It's as simple as that. You can't be giving up 96 points in 3 games. They're averaging, 32 points a game, which is just terrible.
Whereas the Chiefs,
they're giving up about just under 19 points a game.
It's going to be an interesting one. Like, really interesting. And you kind of got to give it, I guess, in the regular season at least, to the team that's going to primarily put up points.
Which is Baltimore. But the thing is, though, Fletch, is that with Kansas City, I always feel their issue right now is on the offensive side of the ball. Now, they haven't got Rasheed Rice. He's still suspended. They still don't have Xavier Worthy. Not sure if he's going to be playing.
He's back this week.
He's going to be back this week. Okay, so that's one weapon.
Training this week.
But the Chiefs need weapons, and they haven't got the weapons right now. Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, they're not exactly going to move the needle as much. Xavier Worthy will, and it will give Mahomes a little bit more time. With Ravens, it's on the defensive side of the ball. But this is the same conversation we were having last year about the Baltimore Ravens defense. It's not that good. It's not that good. And there's something I found out as well with everyone saying, "Oh, Jim Harbaugh's job might be on the line because of what he's doing," and that. There is skeptical reasons to think why that is. Because under Lamar Jackson, he has had a very good record with Lamar Jackson. But you check his record out from 2012 after they won the Super Bowl up to the point they drafted Lamar Jackson. He's a 500 head coach. Again, it's another one of these ideas where he might be getting carried by an elite talent at QB through this. And on the offensive side of the ball, they're doing their bit. They're doing their bit on the offensive side. If you put up 30 points a game, you should be winning games. So I flip this over to coaching. You're either coaching the defense or you're to make these mistakes, or you're allowing the defense to make these mistakes. Which one is it? This is why I am struggling now. We're only in week 4, and now my faith in Baltimore to even make the Super Bowl is looking more and more murky by the day, by the week. It's not looking good for them.
I'm surprised you even had them going to the Super Bowl, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or the team they struggled against the least was, and granted, with the interior line problems that they have in Baltimore, given arguably the best D-line in the league is the Browns. They performed best offensively against the Browns and had the best game overall against the Browns. But then again, also put that down to the Browns haven't got a bloody offense to save their life. So at least you've got that going for you. Whereas, like, you then come up against the 2 games where you've lost, the Bills, granted you lose by a point, but again you collapse entirely in that 4th quarter. And then, like you say, are you coaching it to happen? Are you allowing it to happen? Or do you have no choice? And David Montgomery runs through your fucking face. That's what happened on Monday. So I can't. I just don't know with the Ravens anymore. I just don't.
You can't be giving up. You cannot win. They say obviously the added to the whole thing is, what is it? Offense wins you games.
Defense wins you championships. Not in this day and age in the NFL. It doesn't.
But you cannot you cannot be a team that goes into games and has to try and outscore the other team in terms of allowing that level of points against you. You can't be allowing 32 points per game in order to be able to win and be in a position where you should be. And that's the problem that you'll always have with the Ravens. And I agree with Carl. I genuinely think this is a coaching issue, because you look at that defense. You've got arguably one of the best, one of the top linebackers in the league, one of the best safeties in the league, and you're still giving up 32 points. It doesn't make sense. And it's not like the other players on that defense are bad players. They're great. They're very good players. And on paper, as I've said, it's one of the best defenses on paper, in my opinion. But they just give up too many points, and they just flat to deceive every single week.
Meg. Sorry, go on, Carl. You finish.
It's perfectly fine to do that in the regular season and win your division like that. That's not the issue we're worried about. It's when it gets to the postseason where you need a balance on offense, defense, and special teams. You need all three phases to go and try and win a Super Bowl when you hit the postseason. And I just think currently right now, okay, they've got a fairly decent kicker in Tyler Loop, who's done fairly well so far. Their offense is scorching hot right now. But if you say got like a top 5 offense and a bottom 10 and a bottom 10 defense, guess what? You're not making the Super Bowl like that. You need to have a bang average. If you've got a high offense, you need to have at least a bang average defense. Somewhere between 10 and 15. You need to have something like around that area. It gives you half a chance. The Ravens are not even close to that yet.
Yeah. Meg, this has got to be one of those teams where you're the person holding up the sign saying, I just hope both teams lose. Yeah. What are you thinking going into it on Sunday?
So the way that I look at it is that the one thing we can't ignore is the fact that the Ravens are putting the points up and the Chiefs are not. Full stop. I fully understand and respect the fact that the Ravens defense is problematic at best. However, they are putting up more points than the Chiefs are putting up. Whether Xavier Worthy's going to make that much of a difference coming off of an injury, having not been training at full capacity for a while now, a couple of weeks now, that makes a big difference. For me, I'm taking the Ravens on this one, and I do think that, it comes down to the fact that they can score points and the Chiefs are struggling to. And that's really
entirely fair. Yeah, entirely fair. That's where I'm getting at as well with this game. I completely agree with you. I just want to. I think this is about time we call it a day on the episode. We will, of course, actually have the video coming out on Saturday. I promise. If not,
can we just do the double bumper, because I can't sleep if we don't.
Well, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. We're about to wrap it up. The video and thingy will be going out on Saturday. I promise. Now we need Carl's final bit. We need the double bit of the double bomber, and then we'll do the links and stuff.
So for anyone who's just viewed in, the first one we looked at was the 7th with James Cook, Ed Booker, Jonathan Taylor, Derek Henry, Rome Redunze, Josh Jacobs, and Bijan Robinson. That £5 you put on is going to give you back a very modest 286. Your 9th, this is the one where you go big or go home. Hunter Henry.
Yes.
Jordan Mason. Now that's a dodgy one, because there's always a saying I have when I do my ACCAs on another sport, a rounded shaped ball, where you never bet on the lunchtime kickoff. This putting Jordan Mason down in this ACCA is the equivalent of doing that. It's literally the first game, and if it fucks you up, it's game over. Right? So just bear it in mind. If you don't want to use it, try someone else. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amarian Hampton. Keenan Allen. He scored a touchdown every single game so far this season. So he's on a roll. Saquon Barkley. Kyron Williams. Devon Achane. And then just to throw a big one into the mix, Trey Tucker, the receiver out of the Raiders. £5 on, that gives you back a whopping 6,188.
Lovely.
We'll love to hear it.
Before we go, there has been an update to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers injury report. So I just don't want to leave anyone hanging. Levante David was in full practice today after limited yesterday. Mike Evans did not practice, obviously. Chris Godwin Jr., full practice yesterday, did not practice today. Logan Hall, DNP. Charlie Heck, limited practice both days. Christian Ezien, did not practice. Baker Mayfield, which is the one everyone actually gives a crap about, limited today as well. The one to keep an eye on normally, if you're looking at injury reports, if he goes in full practice tomorrow, that's a very, very, very good sign. Going into the weekend on good hopes. If he's limited, just keep an eye on it. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Tristan Wirfs was limited yesterday, but full today.
He got his blind, so Baker Mayfield has got his blindside blocker back.
Or Teddy Bridgewater has.
Or what was that guy? But Connor.
Cody something or other, wasn't it?
Connor Cody. No, he's a defender.
No, it's Connor something. Connor Bazelko or something like that. Was the undrafted rookie quarterback.
Some unknown rookie.
We love to hear that.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you. It leaves me without further ado to give a massive thank you to my three wonderful co-hosts. As ever on the Asleep at Work Network, you can find our review show once you have a really, really good weekend of action. You can find the review show recording on Monday night out on Tuesday. If you are massive into college football, then check the College Football UK podcast. If you like fantasy football and you like what Sam said, that way actually, I forgot it's mirrored. If you like what Sam said about fantasy game day and you want a bit more in-depth fantasy football analysis, then you can wait tomorrow for the Fantasy Den podcast. So much going on, and if you want in your life a much more in-depth look at the Patriots, then you can go and check out the Patriots Touchback as well. Obviously, go find the AAW Network social media, and then just go from there. Right, everything kind of spiders out from there. You can also join us on Discord. We have our own Discord server, and you can find the link for which is in the description. But if you notice, if you've looked before, our description has had a little bit of a change up. We've done a bit of I've worked a little bit of magic. There are there are some links, but there are now buttons in the description rather than links because they're super cool. And thank you, ChatGPT, for teaching me how to do that. It's so the description's changed a little bit, but it's all the same. It's very self-explanatory. Go find the links, and hope we will see you next week as we look to preview week 5 of the NFL season. See you later.